So the MLB trade deadline is officially over. The Mets' chances to bring in a lot of top-tier talent to improve their roster has faded away. One of the biggest takeaways is the fact that the Mets have really been banking on a lot of arms that have been hurt this year to stay healthy. Guys like Tyler McGill, guys like Trevor May, and even our top guy, Jacob deGrom. Even though this pitching staff looks completely great, fully healthy, there's no 100% guarantee. And that goes down to filling this roster with good pitching depth. And once a few injuries slip on the roster, it's definitely hard given the Mets' current situation. We got guys like Yohan Lopez getting a lot of innings. We've got guys like Steven Nagosic, who has not really been experienced in the major leagues. So the only way that the Mets can approach this depth at this point of the season is the waiver wire. Here are 5 arms that the Mets need to add through the waiver wire.
On 3-2, Vader. Swings and misses, strike 3. He struck him out. 5 Met pitchers combined for the second no-hitter in New York Mets history.
One of the biggest bonuses to the waiver wire is obviously that the fact that this costs you basically nothing. These are claims that you can pretty much make for league minimum, and they can definitely benefit your team down the stretch of the season.
And the Mets could always use some depth. They've missed out on a few guys. 2 guys that didn't have a chance that they could have maybe been on this video, being guys like Jake McGee, who got claimed by the Nationals, Nelson Lamet, who got claimed by the Rockies, RIP to his career, and Tyler Duffy, who was a guy that me and Mets fan were clamoring for the Mets to sign, and he's just signed a minor league deal with the Texas Rangers. Guys that are being designated for assignment, they have 3 days, and they have to go through waivers. Pretty much every team is ranked from last. The last team gets the first shot. If they have a lot of money, which you look at guys like Robinson Cano, who got DFA'd, the money, if you claim them while they're DFA'd, you have to take on their full contract. If they clear through the 3 days or 4 day window, they can be either outrighted to AAA or due to service time, like Robinson Cano, can elect to be released out of their contract and then can sign for league min with any team. While we use the Robinson Cano example, the Mets are picking up their $40 million left in the deal. The Braves picked him up for $700K.
All right, so let's get to this list. The first one we got is Joe Smith. He's been in the league for a while. He's 38 years old. For those Dark Ages Mets fans that do not remember, the Mets actually traded Joe Smith back in 2008, and that included 11 other players in that trade. It was a 3-team trade with Cleveland and Seattle, and that trade brought over J.J. Putz and Sean Green. Nobody really knows those names. Well, neither do we. For those who need a refresher on Joe Smith, he's a submariner. This year, he has not really been that good with Minnesota. He bounced around a lot. He was with the Astros. He was with the Angels. He was with Cleveland. And since he is a submariner, I do want to add that to the bullpen. We really thought that we had a piece like that in Jake Reed this year. But unlike Jake Reed, Joe Smith can actually throw some strikes.
It's a different look, different variety, different looks coming out of the Mets pen. You look at guys like Diaz with 100 and a slider over the top, Ottavino with fastball slider at a 3/4 delivery, Lugo with the hard curveball over the top. To maybe throw in a submariner like Joe Smith is just a different look to a team. Yes, he doesn't have any velocity. Did get hit around a little bit with Minnesota. Obviously, him getting DFA'd. He's a guy who has experience playing in New York, like a guy like we clamored for David Robertson. He's done it in this market. One last chance to maybe get a ring. Rookie year with the Mets, to finish his career with the Mets with a ring. Maybe that does something to him. So maybe that would be a good idea.
Joe Smith was definitely one of those arms that just completely got away. I think he was extremely talented. And then back in 2020, I feel like we kind of had a second chance at life with that in Jarrett Hughes. Tend to pitch pretty well for us. He wasn't the best, but that type of low velocity, sinker, slider, mixed with a fastball type of guys, I really do like. Next up we got is TJ Mcfarland. Mcfarland was just recently DFA'd by the Cardinals. This year, he has not really been having the best year. He's 33 years old, southpaw, big ground ball guy. He's a soft tossing left-hander, sinker, slider, changeup. Now, Mcfarland did have a good year last year, and I definitely feel like we can trust him a little bit more than Joely Rodriguez.
This year has not been good. Left a lot of balls over the middle of the plate, and in a lot of big spots, he's been giving up some big homers lefty-lefty, and it is a problem. I do see, again, a change of scenery would be pretty good. I mean, obviously, again, the Mets desperately needed a lefty. Today was a perfect example. Joely Rodriguez just plain out sucks. To be able to bring in some competition for him and just some extra insurance to make sure, since, they didn't want to go out at the deadline and just pay the price for a good lefty reliever, they wanted to trust Joely. Any left-handed reliever the Mets should be all in on, just to bring in some more depth. depth, because if they're not going to call about Claudio, they can continue to use more and more depth as possible for lefties. Mcfarland, again, had some success last year. Could it just be, hey, maybe Ollie Marmol's using him in the wrong situations and he's not producing in the ways he should be? Does get a lot of ground balls. He'll put more confidence in him than Joely Rodriguez.
Now, Mcfarland definitely keeps the ball on the ground a lot, but one thing that has really been a problem with him has been a little bit of hard contact. The one thing about hard contact is that, yes, it's a huge problem, but it's something that can be easily fixed with some adjustment. And that's what I really think that he could do under Jeremy Hefner. So as of right now, I do think that TJ McFarland is a veteran piece that they can possibly bring in, and it can definitely give you a lot more options compared to Joely Rodriguez being your only lone lefty there. Next up we got is Justice Sheffield. This guy, I have absolutely no idea why he was DFA'd. The only reason why you can really think of, it's the fact that the Mariners have a lot of starting pitching options that they definitely have more trust in over this guy. But he actually was pitching pretty well in a small sample and pitching pretty well in the minor leagues as he flip-flopped between AAA and the majors. The one thing I do like about this guy is he does have the first-round pedigree, as he was a late-round first pick by Cleveland back in 2014. He's also only 26, so maybe this is a guy that they could pick up, and maybe he is a future piece for this bullpen. As we all know, we have a lot of guys out of this bullpen becoming free agents, and maybe he could be a future piece as he's a free agent, as he is going to be a free agent all the way to 2026. So maybe this is one of these diamond in the rough types of guys, Adonis Medina type of piece.
Formerly of a big prospect of the New York Yankees, flopped out, went to Seattle. Sheffield is an interesting piece, like you said, controllable left-handed reliever, can give you multiple innings, which is always good to have an insurance guy, extra long man in the pen, especially left-handed. Justice Sheffield is just another reason to take another waiver claim. Again, if you can get 2 weeks out of him of very good baseball, you take it.
I think one of the main approaches that they need to use on this waiver wire is kind of identifying how these guys are in certain situations, because that's definitely been one sort of a weakness coming out of this bullpen. And with Justice Sheffield, I think that he does have the potential to come in at every single situation where he can be that Trevor Williams type where he comes out of the bullpen. Maybe he makes a spot start in a doubleheader. I really think that this is a benefit pickup. And again, 26 years old, he has the upside and a lot of controllable years. The fourth arm that we have on this list is Matt Peacock. This is another one of those young arms that's not even 30 yet. He's 28 years old. He started off last year in his rookie year with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Didn't pitch so well, kind of flopped. Mid-90s sinker baller. He does have a pretty good changeup. He probably can start for you, and he definitely could give you length because he did start a little bit last year, but I like him a little bit more out of the pen. Definitely knows how to induce ground balls, great contact manager. So it's definitely something that I think the Mets should look into. We all know that Billy Epler loves his contact managers. He loves these guys who induce soft contact, and I really think that Matt Peacock should be on that list on the waiver wire.
Most people, I'm going to say 95% of people, don't know who the hell this person is. I'm in that 95% because I thought we were talking about Brad Peacock, the guy that pitched for the Astros. I don't know who in the hell Matt Peacock is. What is his batted ball peripherals? I need to know, because literally this man, I thought we were talking about Brad. I don't know who the hell Matt is.
Kind of like the reliever version of Chris Bassett, but he does not really have that wide of an arsenal.
Did any of you know who the hell Matt Peacock is? Or are you guys like me that you know who Brad Peacock is, but not a goddamn clue who Matt was?
What I'm looking at with Matt Peacock is someone that doesn't overthrow. He's also young, got some upside. He's a pitcher, not a thrower, okay? Throwers are bad. We like pitchers. Now we get to the fifth and final guy. This, I personally believe, and I know you believe, should be probably the top priority of all of these guys to claim off of waivers. Ken Giles. Now, in a surprising manner, actually, Seattle released Ken Giles. Now, obviously, one of the biggest things about him has been the fact that he's just not been able to stay healthy. Back with Houston and Toronto, that was when he definitely hit his stride. Could the Mets maybe find a 2 to 3 week stretch in him where he can come back to that reliever that he was? But we all know the stuff is still there, but basically staying healthy is the only thing, and I think they should take the risk on that. It's kind of a similar situation of a video that we did do about Trevor Rosenthal.
He is officially elected to free agency, meaning he is free to sign with anyone else. So he's cleared waivers and is now officially a free agent. Not throwing 100 anymore, but still has that hard velocity. I think in Seattle, he got up to 98 at times, but he's still kind of a two-pitch pitcher, which I'm a little scared of, which is something I don't like. I mean, obviously, Edwin Diaz gets away with being a two-pitch pitcher because, again, he's throwing 102, and his slider has a razor blade on it. Giles has pitched well this year. This is the only guy of the 5 guys who actually has good results and good numbers this year. It was a surprising DFA to Major League fans, to Mariners fans, not so much, because Jerry Dipoto wants to get Matt Brash, and that's the biggest thing, Matt Brash on the big league roster. So Ken Giles was the guy they cut loose to give Matt Brash his full-time position on the big league squad. He's better than Juan Lopez. He's better than Tommy Hunter. He's better than the 3 roster spots we have kind of in the bullpen. And if he's right, which this year he has been pretty right, it does give you a second emergency closer in the bullpen.
And people do forget he is 31. He's been in the league for a little bit, but he came in relatively young. He definitely still has a lot left in the tank. And I really think that the Mets can untap that. And even though he's not throwing as hard as he used to be, he's still throwing relatively hard to get those good results.
He does have a $9.5 million club option. I doubt anyone will take that. But yeah, if I'm the Mets, to get a little bit better bridge to Edwin Diaz is the biggest key to me. And if you're going Giles in the 7th, Otto in the 8th, to Diaz in the 9th, and then you got guys like Lugo and Givens to fill in, and then the second team is Lugo, Givens, May, and then Joely is just there to say hi.
I remember a lot of Mets fans being upset about trading Colin Holderman with all the control that he obviously had and the potential that he showed in his short rookie stint with the Mets. If you're looking to replace Colin Holderman, Ken Giles, that is the type of value that you can 100% replace Colin Holderman with. I really think they can fill that void with Ken Giles, because I don't think Michael Givens is that top tier guy that could fill that big 7th inning role. Even though I think Michael Givens is a good reliever, he's just not at the level as some of these arms that they could have brought in at the deadline.
Billy Epler should be like flea market collector right now. He's looking through everybody's junk that people have given away or just gotten rid of, and you got to find the treasure. And maybe you see a bad ERA, but a good fit, you grab them. You like a Sierra, but a bad Sierra, grab it.
It is so cute when you use metrics that you have absolutely no idea what they are.
Well, I mean, they're all useless. All that matters is strikeouts, pitcher wins, ERA. That's all that really matters.